Hello guys, welcome to Code High. Today we will start with our very first video on design patterns playlist. In this tutorial, we will learn about factory design pattern and its use cases. Factory design pattern is very important topic if you are preparing for any tech Java interview. So what is factory design pattern? Factory design pattern is a creational design pattern which is used for creating different objects based on some input parameter or metadata. So for example, if you want to purchase any mobile phone, so you must have some parameters in your mind. One of those parameters can be a budget. So let's say if you want to purchase any mobile phone within some budget, now you just want some factory or some class which will take your budget as an input parameter and give the required mobile phone based on this budget. Uh, so let's say this is your mobile factory. In this mobile factory you can have one create mobile method, right? In this create mobile method, this will take price as an input. Now on this price it will have some logic. Here I have written very simple if else logic. So if your price is less than equals to 10,000, then it will return some Vivo phone. If your price is greater than 10,000 and less than 20,000, it will return you the Samsung phone. And if your price is 20,000 and it is less than 30,000, it will return you Google phone. If your price is greater than 30,000, it will return you some iPhone. So here mobile can be an interface, and these all are the implementations of this mobile interface, right? So based on the price whatever you will give to your factory class, it will return you the respective mobile. So here price is a input parameter on which your factory is basically creating objects, right? So this input parameter can be anything else like color. So let's say if you want to build an object of any mobile based on the color, then what you can do is you can just write another method in this mobile factory class which will work on the color input parameter. Now on this color it can have any algorithm, any logic, right? You can simply write if your color is, let's say, equals blue, then it will return you new, let's say, Samsung phone, right? If your color is, let's say, black, it will return you new Google phone. As in default case, you can assume that it will return you new iPhone. Now in this factory basically you will pass your color, and based on this color it will simply return you the object of desired mobile phone, right? So it is very basic example of factory design pattern. So to give you more understanding on the factory design pattern, what I will do is I will show you a code base which I have already created to you in Core Java as well as in the Spring Boot, because sometimes what happen in Spring Boot projects, we can use the power of auto wiring and other stuffs of Spring Boot. So let's go one by one. So first we will start with the Core Java implementation of the factory design pattern. So for demonstrating the factory design pattern in Core Java, I have taken an example of a dish kind of thing. So let's say you want to eat something, right? Now what you want to eat, based on your whatever you want to eat, based on your dish type, this factory design pattern will give you the object of respective dish, right? So let's say this is iDish is a interface which is interface of the iDish is an interface, and this three classes pizza, burger, samosa are implementing this iDish, right? All these classes will have one prepare method. Inside the prepare method we can simply write whatever logic we want to preparing the pizza, preparing the burger, or preparing the samosa. Now let's say if you don't want to use factory design pattern, then as a client what you will do is what you have to do is basically, if you want to eat pizza, if you want to create the object of the pizza, you have to initialize the pizza object by you, right? You have to write a code something like pizza obj is equals to new pizza. right? This is the object creation mechanism, right? Now with the dish factory you don't need to take care of this object creation mechanism. This factory will give you the object of pizza class based on the dish type. You just don't need to write any single line of code to creating the pizza. You don't need to write pizza obj is equals to new pizza. What you need to do is you will simply call dish factory.find and the dish type, let's say pizza, and you can call any method which pizza class is having. That's it. So this is what factory design pattern do for you. So let's move on the code example. This is iDish. In this iDish, basically I have created one method of prepare. Now this prepare method will have different steps to preparing a particular dish. So for the example I have created three implementation of this iDish. One is burger, pizza, and the samosa. I have created one more as default case. It is simply default case for my factory design pattern. If you don't want to create default case, that will also work, right? Now let's try to move on each of the implementation one by one. So in burger class I have just created very simple. I have just keep it very simple. I have just make one print statement, burger is prepared. Now if I will move to the another class, some more implementation, pizza and samosa, logic will be some like same. Pizza is prepared, and in the samosa is prepared, right? So here what you can do is you can just write any logic which is required to prepare the samosa. Something like you can say boil the potatoes, right? Keep the sauces with you, and something like this, right? So this is the basically implementation of the iDish implementations. Now main thing is this dish factory. So let's move to the dish factory now. What dish factory is doing, it is returning a iDish kind of object based on the dish type whatever you have written it, right? This is simple samosa, burger, pizza, right? It is new samosa, new burger, new pizza. Now here in the default case, for now I have thrown the new illegal argument, but what you can do is you can simply return new default cake object, right? So it will give you, if any invalid input is given, it will just serve you the default cake, right? So this is what factory design pattern do for you, right? You just don't need to write any new samosa kind of class in your client, right? So this is my client. So what this client is doing, it is just calling dish factory dot find dish. Now in the find dish, it is just giving the any dish type and calling the prepare method. So if I will run this program, it will simply give you me the it will simply call the pizza prepare method, and it will show you pizza is prepared, right? So it is very simple example of the factory design pattern in the core Java, right? Now let's try to move to the Spring Boot example of the same example. For Spring Boot also we will take the same example of the iDish. So in this iDish is a interface which is having prepare method, and for Spring Boot I have created one more method. Just forget it for now. I will give you the brief on the use case of the name method later on, right? So it is also having 4 implementation: burger, pizza, samosa, and a default cake for the default use cases. Burger is also having very similar kind of thing. It is just returning burger is prepared. If you want to have any other steps, something like keep the tomatoes, right? Keep the onion, something like this, right? This all the steps can be written here, and it will just simply written. For the simplicity of this video, I have just simply written the burger is prepared, right? The same goes with the other implementation, pizza and the samosa. Pizza is prepared. If I will go into the samosa class, it will simply say samosa is prepared, right? Now main part is the factory, right? Dish factory. So what dish factory is doing, it is just having the list of dish, and it is getting auto wired. Now how this list is getting populated, it is basically the power of auto wiring which Spring provides you. If you don't have the knowledge of the auto wiring in the Spring Boot, just do comment. I will create separate video on this feature. So let's move on the factory pattern for now. Right, in the post construct I have simply initialized my type to dish map. Now what type to dish map is doing, it is simply taking idish.name and the idish, right? So idish.name is basically the why I have taken the name is basically to initializing this map. Right, now benefit of this name method is, if let's say if I need to implement any other dish in the future. Let's say if I will implement any new dish, something like you can say cold drink, right? Cold drink if I will create and I will just implement it with idish, right? So it will simply ask me the prepare and this name. Here I can simply write cold drink. That's it. I just don't need to do anything else in my factory class. That's why I have taken the name and I have just created the map of name to idish object. Now what client will do, client will call my this static get method, and from this map I will simply return the object of the idish. This is what factory pattern implementation in the Spring Boot, right? So this is my factory controller I have created for demonstrating. It is simply taking the dish as an input and it is calling the dish factory and getting the object of the dish class, whatever is you will pass on, it is calling its prepare method. So let's try to run this application, Spring Boot application. So if I will run this, it is getting started. So what I will do, I will just hit an API of this factory controller from the Postman, right? So it will just have simple dish. I have sent the dish burger. If I will just send it, it will return burger is created. If I will pass on pizza, it will return me something internal server error has occurred because this pizza. Let's move to the code again. So what is there is, if I will say pizza's p is basically greater, so this is pizza. Now it will return you the pizza is prepared, right? So this is how factory design pattern works. Hope it is clear to you now. If you are having any doubt, do comment, and if you like this video, please please hit on the like button and subscribe our channel.